podcast are those of the individuals in this conversation and not the official position of Boston Avenue United Methodist Church. Last year, Caitlin and I had a wonderful discussion and debate on Christmas songs. Some songs we agreed on, and some songs we didn't. This year, we decided to have a fun discussion around Christmas movies. What are our favorite Christmas movies? What is a Christmas movie? For this fun-filled discussion, our senior high coordinator, Hannah Phillips, is joining us. Hello, Hannah.
Hey, everybody.
So let's go ahead and get started. And to get started, I want to know from both of you, what are your favorite Christmas movies?
Some of my favorite Christmas movies. I have a complicated Christmas movie rubric because I didn't grow up watching a whole lot of Christmas movies. So I made 3 different lists of movies, Christmas-esque, Christmas-adjacent movies that I like. And my list of movies that can happen without Christmas. Batman Returns, wonderful Christmas movie. Edward Scissorhands, Home Alone, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and Lethal Weapon. Movies that can't happen without Christmas, according to my rubric: Jingle All the Way, Die Hard, The Nightmare Before Christmas, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, The Muppets Christmas Carol, which I watched for the first time a couple weeks ago, and it really blew me away. I thought I wasn't going to like it because it was too Christmassy, but it's maybe my favorite movie right now. And Eyes Wide Shut, movies that I watched to get me in a festive mood. So I didn't grow up watching Christmas movies, but here are the movies that I would watch with my grandparents and my little brothers around December or around Hanukkah or Christmas to get us in that festive mood. It is a strange list. The Matrix trilogy, John Carpenter's The Thing, because there's a lot of snow in that movie. Indiana Jones, and yes, even the second one, but not the fourth one. Star Wars episodes 4, 5, and 6, and Gremlins.
Those are some lists. That is the first time I've ever heard someone say that they like Jingle All the Way.
What?
Really?
No. It's on my top 5.
Is it really? I've
Yes.
never heard someone say I
Oh
like
my
Jingle.
gosh.
I've never seen it. So I can't actually say that I like it or dislike it. But
Okay,
I've
one.
never heard somebody say they like that movie.
Let me just explain why this movie is excellent. 1, Arnold Schwarzenegger. 2, Christmas toy frenzy chaos. So there's a nice kind of subtle critique of capitalism at Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, there's this underscoring message around parenthood and what we do for our children, which is a lovely kind of commentary on family during the Christmas season. But also, Philip, it has Arnold Schwarzenegger. So like
That's a negative in my opinion.
Oh
I
my
don't want to
gosh.
watch Arnold Schwarzenegger in a movie.
it's a delight. It's a delight.
What?
You're not a very good child of the 80s in some ways, I just feel like. So Jingle All the Way, Hannah, is also in my top 5 list.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is maybe slightly a more classic Christmas movie list. I don't normally like Will Ferrell, but I feel like Elf is an absolutely iconic and wonderful and delightful Christmas movie. My Christmas movie that no one has probably heard of that I adore is called Borrowed Hearts. And it's a like early 90s romantic comedy kind of Hallmark-esque Christmas movie. The fashion is great to watch now. The storyline is delightful. There's a little bit of magic and a lot of romance, and it's very sweet. A recent addition to my favorites list is the 2019 movie Klaus, which if you haven't watched it, watch with a box of tissues because you will cry, but like in a good way, like a heartfelt Christmas way. And then I kind of had a little bit of a tie between Die Hard, which is very different from the rest of these Christmas movies, but like is its own experience during the Christmas season, And then some of the claymation classics like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or You're Without a Santa Claus, because those are, to me, kind of those ones that you watch to get in the Christmas spirit. And the Cold Miser, Heat Miser song, I will sing out loud in my home, not in front of other people. Philip, what about your top Christmas movies?
My list includes my two favorite Christmas movies are White Christmas with Bing Crosby and Denny Kaye and Vera Ellen and Rosemary Clooney. Muppet Christmas Carol is by far the best Christmas Carol version, in my opinion. And that movie is way better than it has every right to be, in my opinion. So those are my top two. My third one is either Home Alone or Home Alone 2. And I'm going back and forth on that. I love Home Alone because it's the first one and you meet the characters. But Home Alone 2, just the backdrop of New York and New York City is wonderful to me. New York City around Christmas time is amazing. My fourth is Elf. Unlike Caitlin, I love 99% of Will Ferrell movies. So Elf is always going to be up there. I think it's a joy. And I think Hannah put it on ones you don't like, right? Is that correct?
Yep.
It's okay though. I want to remind all our listeners that we are all friends. And this is a fun debate. But yeah, so Elf is number 4 in my list. And number 5 is probably The Santa Claus with Tim Allen. Would probably be 5. Not really the second or third one as much, but the first, The Santa Claus, is really good. But those are mine. So then there were some of yours. We can get into a discussion about what is a Christmas movie next. I want to preface what I'm going to say with something. I want to preface it with whatever brings you joy at the Christmas time, you can watch. Just because I disagree and say, to me, that's not a Christmas movie, that doesn't mean it's not a Christmas movie to Caitlin or to Hannah or to anybody who's listening. Okay, I'm not saying that you're wrong because I may disagree. I want that out there before we begin. Is that okay?
Philip is putting this disclaimer out there because I told him he was wrong in the Christmas music.
Oh, the Christmas song debate, she told me I was wrong 3 or 4 times. And I know she'll do it this time. I'm okay with that. But I want it out there that whatever's a Christmas movie to you, watch it and be joyful at Christmas while you watch your movie. To me, and both Caitlin and Hannah know my Christmas movie tiers. I have 3 tiers. I used to have 4. I can't remember what the 4th one is. So sorry.
TIERS, not TEARS.
Yeah, TIERS.
Philip's not crying
Thank
over
you.
Christmas.
I don't have 3 tiers. I'm not crying 3 tears over Christmas. But Christmas movie tier 1 is without Christmas, this movie could not happen. Tier 2 is Christmas adjacent. It takes place at Christmas. However, without Christmas, this movie could still happen. Tier 3 is not a Christmas movie. Christmas/winter occurs at one point in the movie, but those are not Christmas movies. And just because a Christmas movie, in my opinion, like I said before, ends at Christmas does not necessarily make a Christmas movie, which some people would disagree with that. They say if it ends at Christmas, it's automatically a Christmas movie. So the pink elephant in the room is Die Hard. That is the movie that is discussed. I am on record as saying that, in my opinion, it is not a Christmas movie. And my reasoning is, I think it fits on tier 2. Hannah said tier 1 when luckily her lists were kind of based off of or not based, but kind of were similar with my tiers. So it was easy to discuss. I feel like that movie did not have to happen at Christmas time. Hannah shocked. What? Hannah shocked. And I feel like what you're going to say is because of the security. They had to know that it was not secure and so forth. I feel personally that it could have happened during any big holiday or during a party. They could have had a big Halloween party. They could have had a big New Year's party, which some people might say New Year's kind of fits in with the Christmas time, so they might include that. And that's probably the best one to think of. But it could have a huge New Year's party, which people have all the time, companies have and groups have. And I feel personally it did not have to happen at Christmas.
Well, we're going to disagree on that, Philip.
Why is that?
So I like strongly believe that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. It can't happen without Christmas. The protagonist, played by Bruce Willis, John McClane, needs an excuse to fly from New York City to Los Angeles, where his estranged wife, Holly, lives. And he needs an excuse to come to that holiday party in Nakatomi Tower, where Holly, his wife, works. He wants to make a big thing about coming back, getting down on his knees, begging to have Holly take him back, to reconcile their relationship, to work things out, which I think is kind of Christmas theme adjacent, that like reconciliation, let's make our relationships right and okay. So John McClane is bringing a present up to the Christmas party that his estranged wife Holly is participating in Nakatomi Tower. And then that's when things like truly go out of hand. There is a German terrorist who attacks the tower. And he specifically chooses Christmas. Hans Gruber, the German terrorist, chooses the Christmas party because he knows that fewer police are working on Christmas Eve and fewer security guards are working on Christmas Eve. So he specifically chooses that holiday because that would be the holiday with fewer police and fewer security on call to make his strike on Nakatomi Tower. And I mean, Santa doesn't make an appearance necessarily. It's not one of those movies where like it ends at Christmas and everyone opens presents or everything's okay. It is an action movie, which traditionally is not really a Christmas movie, right? But just thinking back to other places I've worked, we didn't really have any other holiday parties besides Christmas Eve or Christmas adjacent parties, right? Christmas parties are kind of a big deal. Sure, companies can have like a really big Halloween party or a really big New Year's Eve or New Year's Day party. But it would be considered more of a hassle to staff security guards for a Christmas Eve party, because that's kind of the holiday that our country kind of is big about and really pushes like be home with your family. Oh no, you're working Christmas Eve, what a hassle. And I think that's why Hans Gruber chose that Christmas party to make his terrorist attack. Thoughts, opinions?
Caitlin, do you have any thoughts?
So I'm with Hannah that I think Die Hard is a Christmas movie. My definition of Christmas movie is really very vague, which is kind of what you said in your disclaimer, Philip. It's any movie that is going to give you a Christmassy sense. So whether that's because there are Christmas themes, whether it's really excessively Christmas. I love cheesy cotton candy romance Christmas movies, Hallmark Channel nonsense. And 99% of those don't have anything to do with Christmas other than that they're set around Christmas time and maybe there's snow on the ground or it's in a little New England town. Sometimes they incorporate Santa or themes around belief. So my general scope of what a Christmas movie is it's a very big bucket. I think Die Hard is a Christmas movie because some of the more iconic lines, which are not appropriate to say on a church podcast, reference Christmas. I think this is one of those hotly debated ones. on the internet and in popular culture about whether this is a Christmas movie, and everybody has a camp. I watched it last Christmas. I think I texted you, Philip, and was like, this is totally a Christmas movie.
I need to say that I watched it for the first time last Christmas because I didn't want to be on one side or the other without watching it. That's ridiculous. So I watched it last Christmas for the first time. Yeah.
So I find it to be a Christmas movie. It doesn't have all of the themes that sometimes are what some people look for in a Christmas movie that make you feel really good all the way through to your bones. There's a lot of profanity. There's a lot of violence. There's a lot of blood. But everybody comes at things from where they're at. So if you're an action movie lover, this is probably a great integration of Christmas into a genre that you like. So I'm a big fan of Die Hard. It is a little weird as a Christmas movie because it does have a lot more gore and a lot less cheer. But overall, I'm with Hannah.
I must say that my tier 2, the Christmas adjacent, it takes place at Christmas. However, without Christmas, the movie could still be possible, is a scale. So 3 of my movies actually fit on that scale, in my opinion, on tier 2, because I believe that Home Alone and Home Alone 2 are tier 2 movies. And White Christmas, even though it has Christmas in the title, I think is a tier 2 movie. And believe it or not, I actually think Christmas Carol, Muppet Christmas Carol, is a tier 2 movie. I don't think it needs Christmas. I understand why it's at Christmas, but I think those spirits could have happened anytime. And I think it's a tier 2 movie. Now.
So that you're saying that Dickens' A Christmas Carol, which is literally titled A Christmas Carol, is not fully and completely and robustly a Christmas.
Let's go to songs. Last Christmas has Christmas in the title. I mean, I don't want to compare Wham to Charles Dickens.
Don't disrespect Wham.
But you kind of did.
Last Christmas has Christmas in the title. That is not a Christmas song. Just because it has Christmas in the title doesn't necessarily make it a Christmas song or a Christmas movie. But I think it's on tier 2. But I think it's more closer to the tier 1 because I think it's just a moving scale. So I still think of A Muppet Christmas Carol as a Christmas movie because it's closer to tier 1. Where Home Alone, I think, is a tier 2 movie. It doesn't need to happen. It could happen anytime.
Spring break.
Exactly. So it can happen anytime. But to me, it's closer to a tier 1, especially the first one, because of they decorated the house so it's just yells Christmas at you. Everything of that movie still yells Christmas at me. While watching Die Hard, there were parts that I remembered it was Christmas Eve, but there were also parts where I completely forgot that it was Christmas Eve because it just did not yell, it's Christmas time to me.
So something that I think is really interesting about your Die Hard Home Alone comparison, because I watched both of them last year and still getting into my Christmas movie swing this year. But something that hasn't entered our tiers or our way of talking about what is a Christmas movie. We talked a little bit about like themes, but I think it's really funny. We're a church community that's having this conversation, and we're not talking about any of the church kind of themes of Christmas. And one of the things I noticed when I watched Home Alone the last time was while it purports to be like this family movie, there is like no functionality in that household. Like all of those humans are not good humans. Like that's a really broad, big generalization and kind of like a rude thing to say, but like all of those characters are like very self-centered, selfish, like not nice people. Like the parents, and I know parenting's a hard gig. Like I don't want to throw stones, but like you left your child, you left your child in the house. Like they invented children harnesses for a reason. Granted, you might not put them on your like whatever 9-year-old Macaulay Culkin, but like, I don't know. Maybe the 90s were a weird time for parenting where that was like a believable plot. But I was like, all of these people are bad people. So in terms of like Christmas feeling, like at least Bruce Willis in Die Hard, like really loved his wife and knew he screwed up in the beginning. Like
those are good points. I also do believe that the McAllisters do love each other. I feel like in that time it was really stressful time. It's the holidays, and they had a difficult time, but I feel like they definitely loved each other. Caitlin disagrees, and the thing is, like, they do use different.
For children turn out like that, where they like are brutally mean to each other without some serious missteps in your parenting. I don't know. So I guess really to go back to it, those two fall in kind of the same camp, but Die Hard is a little more Christmassy for me, just because like there are nicer people in it. Yeah. And I feel like being a nice person is kind of a Christmas theme.
And I will say that Die Hard's probably closer to the middle. Like, I think Die Hard could go either way. If I want an action movie at Christmas time, to me, the reason people think of Die Hard as purely a Christmas movie is because they want an action Christmas movie. And that's a genre that just doesn't really exist. So they throw Die Hard in there because people need an action movie to watch at Christmas. If I want one, I will pick that. One of my favorite movies, I believe Hannah mentioned, is Batman Returns. I think that's way on the bottom on tier 2.
Oh yeah, way on the bottom. Yeah.
But I love that movie. And if I want to watch a Batman movie that kind of fits Christmas, that kind of has a Christmas feel, I'll watch that. But yeah, so it's just a scale on the tier 2 ones. And with Home Alone, Kevin McAllister it wouldn't be a fully different movie if it was during spring break, because it wouldn't be exactly the same if it was during spring break, because he did hurt people, hurt the bad guys with the ornaments and so forth as they came into the house and all this. So it wouldn't be fully the same movie because he'd find different ways to hurt them. But I still think it's a tier 2. No.
Do you think Home Alone is an action movie?
I've never thought of that before. Weirdly, after what Kaylin said, she said it's not really family friendly, and I've always just thought of it as a family movie. So now I need to rethink my view of Home Alone. But
it's funny, it's fascinating to me as a child who grew up in the 90s to look back at some of those like late 80s and early 90s films that were advertised like for families, and just like how much violence there is, or like how much like harm, and like it's like Roadrunner animated violence with like Wile E. Coyote falling off the cliff manifested into live action. And like, what did that do to our brains in terms of thinking like what we could do to other people?
I was ready to protect my house.
Which like, again, like in terms of Christmas themes, like I don't feel like that should be the theme of Christmas, is like protecting your home from bumbling adults. Like that Christmas is about like opening what you have to others and sharing, which like granted, if somebody's going to rob you, like, that's different. But I just feel like it's really, for me personally, the movies I enjoy the most are ones that really drive home some sort of lesson around how we show love to others, or how we care for each other, or how we bring cheer. So like Elf, it's not gonna like change how we treat each other, but that degree of just joy and cheer that Will Ferrell's character brings, I think is an important part of the Christmas message. I think these are all kind of secular themes, but that integrate with our spiritual lives in terms of how we spiritually engage with the season, and where our spirit is at in the season, and whether our spirit is coming from a place of kind of goodwill, or from a place of let's beat up the bad guys. So if I have to have a let's beat up the guys movie, I'll take Die Hard over Home Alone, because at least it's more honest about what it is.
I like that read, Caitlin.
I will say with Die Hard, those are good points, Caitlin. I appreciate that. I will say with Die Hard. It is more of a Christmas movie. Now, this is my hot take out there. It's more of a Christmas movie than It's a Wonderful Life is.
Oh, for sure.
It's a Wonderful Life is at the bottom of tier 2. I don't think that is a Christmas movie.
Ready for my confession?
You've never seen it?
I have not seen it.
I watched it for the first time last year because everyone was like,
Wow.
"You've never seen It's a Wonderful Life?" And I was like, "I guess I gotta watch it." But I watched it. I liked the movie. I thought it was fine. Kind of what Philip said earlier about Die Hard. I forgot it was a Christmas movie.
Because so much of it is talking about the past, and it doesn't happen at Christmas time.
Yeah. And it can definitely happen. Like the conclusion of the movie can happen without Christmas. Christmas is hardly featured in the movie at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's my big hot take about Christmas movies. But apparently, Hannah's with me on that one. And the reason it was because once it entered the public domain, that's when they started showing it during the holidays because they didn't have to pay any royalties to the producers, so they could just show it without having to pay anything. Which is probably how, because it was released like Die Hard was released in the summer.
It was July.
As a, but also it's hard to say that that's the reason it's not a Christmas movie because Miracle on 34th Street, the original, was released in May, I believe.
I think it was June, but yeah.
It was June. Okay, it was released in the summer sometime.
So I have a Christmas movie question for you two, and for any of our listeners, just to ponder. If you could only watch one Christmas movie during the Christmas season, and that's the only one you get, which one would you pick?
What tier of Christmas movie?
Of all of your tiers, you have to narrow it down to just one single movie. It can come from any of your lists or any of your tiers, but it's just you just get one.
Can I watch the other movies at other parts of the year, or am I just like banned from watching the other movies?
You could watch the other movies during other parts of the year, but from Thanksgiving to December 27th,
oh no,
you get one of these. Which one would you pick?
Probably. Oh, this is so hard. Why did I make such a long list? Golly, I'm gonna have to do Die Hard dirty. It's not gonna be Die Hard. Maybe The Muppets Christmas Carol, maybe Gremlins, maybe John Carpenter's The Thing. Those are my. I can't decide. Don't ask me to decide.
So you'd have to put it in like a hat and just draw it out.
Oh no. Okay, strike The Muppets Christmas Carol. Oh no, this is so hard. John Carpenter's The Thing. I'm gonna go with John Carpenter's The Thing.
Caitlin, what did you just do to Hannah?
I think I broke Hannah. Philip, did you already pick yours? What would your one be?
It's between my top two.
You get one. The rule is you get one.
Hannah was allowed to talk it out. Am I not allowed to talk it out?
I guess.
Fine. Yes, I
It's between White Christmas and Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh man.
And if I had to choose between the two, I love musicals. I would choose the one musical, but they're both musicals.
They're both musicals.
So,
yeah. What are you gonna do?
Like Danny Kaye's dancing. The best things happen while you're dancing. It's a song in there. That's true.
Philip, I found a loophole for you. Are you ready? They're both musicals, so you can have one as the video, and then you can listen to the soundtrack of the other.
You're so smart, Caitlin.
You know what? I'm gonna pick White Christmas.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Because
that's the wrong answer.
Because with Caitlin's thought process, with White Christmas, it's visual with dancing. And with Muppet Christmas Carol, it's singing. I mean,
but
it's visual
with the Muppets.
But there's not choreography.
But maybe Philip has seen it enough that he can just picture in his head what is happening.
I'm picturing it right now.
I don't know. I'm just giving you some
Caitlin, how about you?
I would pick Borrowed Hearts, which is the one that I know no one has heard of, and it's cheesy and a classic, and I have bought it on every possible platform in DVD and on streaming services, and it's my go-to. So if you haven't seen it, go check out this hidden gem. I love it.
I'm gonna watch it after I watch John Carpenter's The Thing 10 times in a row. I'll watch Borrowed Hearts.
I've never seen either one of those movies.
Oh wow.
I mean, I've never heard of Borrowed Hearts, like Caitlin had mentioned. I have 2 questions for you all. One, I want to know what's your least favorite Christmas movie? Least favorite.
I have not seen a lot of those traditional, like the stop motion animation ones. I really haven't seen those. Least favorite Christmas movie, maybe A Christmas Story. I don't get the hype. I don't like I can't identify with any of the characters. I just don't like it. I don't like it.
I don't know. I like most Christmas movies. As a teenage girl who grew up in the 90s and early aughts, I really liked Love Actually for a window of time. And now I've gone back and watched it as an adult, and it's really quite cringy, and not enjoyable to me anymore. So I wouldn't say like it's the worst movie of all time, but it's one that I previously identified as a really great Christmas movie. And now I don't think you could pay me to watch it at Christmas. So I guess that would be one of mine. My husband and I also found one on Amazon last year that looked like it would be a really cute, like Santa romance kind of movie, a la the Santa Claus 2, but different. And it was hilariously bad. Like it felt almost like it was trying so hard to be bad on purpose. And now I don't remember what it was called. So sorry that's not a helpful piece, but I guess if I had to say, I'd go with Love Actually.
Mine is I'm going to stick with Hannah on that. Mine is also A Christmas Story. I think a lot of it goes to, it's so overplayed on Christmas Eve on TNT, and it's so just overplayed during the season. I also it's a movie about nostalgia in the 50s that was made in the 80s, and I just can't see myself in any of the characters. I can't respond to them, and I'm just not interested in it. I think it's one that I've just also seen too many times just because I feel like it's always on.
Yes. I just think that's tragic. I don't know that I would say it's like one of the best movies of all time ever, but like I have so many fond memories of just watching that with my parents and how my parents responded to it. I think because of like some of the nostalgia that they had from their childhood. So it to me just feels like family when I see it. So even though it's not one that I would like, if I had all of my top ones and then that one, it wouldn't be the one that I watch first, but I wouldn't turn it off.
Mm-hmm. My second question was, and that Hannah was obviously prepared, even though I just made this question up, but because she had her movies that give her Christmas feels, that give her Christmas feelings. What non-Christmas movie do you watch at this time, or would you say gives you the best Christmas feeling, even though you don't think it's a Christmas movie?
Oh, the Matrix trilogy. Just all 3 of them back to back to back. I would like, I remember snuggling up to my grandma on the couch while we watched the Matrix trilogy during this time of year. Like I think those movies are my mother's favorite movies too. And they would always be on, like, we're very like pro movie. We love movies. My grandma used to own a movie theater and a movie store. So I was initiated into watching movies like Jaws or Misery that I probably shouldn't have watched at certain ages. So I grew up with movies, and movies were constantly on, but we would watch a couple movies in December to kind of like get us in that festive mood. And the Matrix trilogy just happened to be just one of those movies that we'd have on constantly around the house. And I think it, like the Matrix trilogy, has some really great themes. And if you if you scratch the surface of the stories in the Matrix movies, there's a Christ story that weaves throughout the movies as well, and that's Christmas adjacent. There are lots of really interesting themes present in the Matrix trilogy, soon to be a fourth, The Matrix, and I am watching that as a Christmas present with my family. But there are lots of interesting themes present in the Matrix trilogy that make it accessible to families that have children of all ages and adults of all ages. I mean, there's a lot of violence, but they're great movies.
I don't have any non-Christmas Christmas movies. From Thanksgiving until Christmas Day, it has to have some sort of Christmas theme if it's a movie that I'm watching. So if I count all of your tiers, Philip, I don't think there are any non-Christmas movies that I have at Christmas time. But I will consider The Matrix now that Hannah has recommended that.
I have never seen any of the Matrix movies.
What?
So I have not seen those.
Philip.
Yep. I've never seen any of the Matrix movies. Never been interested, even though they're quite popular. Maybe I'll do that one of these times so I can get in the Christmas spirit, apparently. Mine, during Christmas time, I usually just stick to Christmas movies. But probably one that gets me just in the right mindset and mood is my all-time favorite movie, which is Singing in the Rain. That's from 1952. My top Christmas movies from 1954. So I'm sticking in the early to mid 50s apparently. And that just any movie with Gene Kelly dancing makes me extremely happy. Whenever my wife Courtney would work evenings, I would do what any 37-year-old would do when my wife was gone and watch Gene Kelly videos on YouTube for like an hour. So watching him dance just makes me in a good mood. So definitely Singing in the Rain is up there. But yeah. And Hannah, what's your favorite Indiana Jones? You mentioned that earlier.
Ooh, the third one.
Yeah, Sean Connery. Yeah, the third one. That's my favorite as well. And I was just wanting to know what your favorite was.
And honestly, like the second one gets a lot of hate. I understand why, but it's so like, oh, okay. It does get a lot of hate, yeah. And I get it. Objectively, it's a bad movie. But for me, that nostalgia factor of just like watching it over and over and over again with my grandparents, that Indiana Jones 2 holds a special place in my heart. It's not my favorite, it's my least favorite, but it's very special.
It's my least favorite, but I still find it good. I still enjoy it, but it is my least favorite out of the three. Any other thoughts from the two of you?
I think just that the whole culture around Christmas, there are so many moving parts. There's Christmas songs, which Philip and I have hotly debated in the past. There's Christmas movies, there's Christmas decorations. There are so many pieces that are seeped into our culture. And there's so many other elements, the gift buying, the gatherings, the parties, that it can feel like a really frantic season. And so whatever piece of Christmas connects you to other people, connects you to a sense of goodwill, maybe connects to some of those spiritual pieces of love or care or generosity or forgiveness, whatever is going to help you spiritually during this season, do that. Watch that, listen to that, ignore that if it's a bad reminder. There are so many pieces pulling us in so many directions during this time. both secularly and in our church life. I mean, we have an activity here at the church every weekend. And sometimes that's a wonderful way to connect with your faith, and sometimes it's an exhausting one more thing on your list. And so pick the ones that help you. And I hope some of them are here at the church, but maybe it is just sitting at home and watching The Grinch, whatever it is. I hope that your Christmas season is one of love and kindness and care and goodwill.
I would say just watch what brings you joy. It doesn't matter if Die Hard is or isn't a Christmas movie. If it's a Christmas movie in your heart, then golly, watch it to your heart's content. I mean, that applies to every movie we discussed, and whatever movies bring you joy during this time of year. Movies are about a lot of things, empowering groups of communities, telling difficult stories, but above all, movies are supposed to bring you joy and those feelings that we're looking for during the season of Advent and Christmas. So watch what brings you joy.
Yes. That was going to be my tagline. Watch what brings you joy. Whatever brings you joy, watch it, do it. We hope that everyone is having a wonderful Advent season. And this has been the Ascends at Boston Avenue podcast. Our producer is Alicia Urban. Our theme music was composed and performed by Wyatt Smith. Boston Avenue United Methodist Church is a progressive historic church located in downtown Tulsa, Oklahoma. Please visit our social media platforms for more information on what's going on at Boston Avenue UMC. We can be found on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. We'll talk to you next time. Thank you. Historic church located in downtown Tulsa, Oklahoma. Please visit our social media platforms for more information on what's going on at Boston Avenue UMC. We can be found on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. We'll talk to you next time. Thank you.